All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Think for a second about the imagery we're constantly fed on the daily news. You know, those dramatic, sweeping drone shots of the White House lawn, the tense, cinematic visuals of officials huddled around a table in the Situation Room, or the profound gravity of a president taking the oath of office. When the president speaks, literally the entire world listens. And honestly, it looks like the ultimate pinnacle of individual authority. But what actually happens behind those famous, brilliantly white walls? Who is prepping every single decision before it even gets close to that podium? Today, we are going completely behind the scenes to map out the true architecture of American power. So it begs the question, right? Is the president really the most powerful person in America? It's a super compelling thought. We have this public perception of an all-powerful lone leader sitting at a massive desk making these unilateral choices that shape the entire globe. It's incredibly dramatic. But the reality? Well, it's far more complex, highly structured, and frankly, a whole lot more interesting. We're going to explore the sheer scale of the massive government machine that actually operates right behind that single desk. To do that, we'll be navigating concentric circles of power today. We'll start with the symbol of power, move into the inner circle, look at secret operations and protocols, zoom out to checks and balances, and finally look at the White House in crisis. Section 1. The symbol of power, demystifying the iconic architecture. Before we meet the people, we absolutely have to understand the space they operate in. Since its completion way back in 1800, the White House has grown into a massive complex. We're talking 132 rooms spread across 6 levels, all perfectly designed to both project and manage immense authority. Now, the building's architecture actually reflects its direct function. The most crucial distinction you need to understand is the divide between the West Wing and the East Wing. The West Wing is the absolute nerve center. It houses the Oval Office, the Situation Room, and it's where the intense day-to-day business of governing actually goes down. The East Wing, on the other hand, is traditionally dedicated to the First Lady's office, major social events, and public tours. It's the more public-facing, ceremonial side of the presidency. Grasping this dichotomy really clears up where the heavy-hitting decision-making happens versus where the social functions take place. Drilling down into that West Wing, we hit the true core of the operation. The Oval Office and the Situation Room are where the world's absolute most critical decisions take shape. And these aren't just famous rooms for the sake of being famous. They are highly specialized environments designed for global command. Take the Situation Room, for example. It isn't just one room. Actually, it's a 5,000 square foot intelligence complex that John F. Kennedy had built after the Bay of Pigs invasion. Literally everything crucial funnels right into these spaces. Section 2. The inner circle. The brains behind the president.
Because here's the thing, it takes an absolute army of highly specialized experts to run the executive branch. You've got the White House Chief of Staff, who acts as the ultimate gatekeeper, ruthlessly managing the president's time and filtering information. The National Security Advisor is there handling critical global threat assessments. The press secretary manages the intense, nonstop daily media narrative, while cabinet members and senior advisors provide deep expertise in everything from economics to domestic policy. These gatekeepers process a staggering volume of information every single day, just to carefully craft the policy options that eventually land on the Resolute desk.
So, to put it simply, the president never makes decisions alone. A massive team of experts provides the inputs. Over the decades, the modern presidency has evolved heavily into an institutional presidency. The office operates much more like a multinational corporation's executive board than some single reigning monarch. When a major policy gets announced, you're looking at the final, highly structured product of countless hours of debate, intelligence gathering, and strategic planning by this entire collective team.
Section 3, Secret Operations and Protocols. Inside the basement and beyond.
Okay, so right behind the public speeches is this hidden layer of continuous, highly secure operations. That Situation Room we mentioned, it acts as a true 24/7 watch center, constantly buzzing with analysts, monitoring global events in real time. You have encrypted, secure communications linking the White House to military commands worldwide, literally at a moment's notice. The Secret Service is running incredibly complex logistical and protective operations every single second of the day. And those daily intelligence briefings, they compile a staggering scale of sensitive global threat data overnight for the president to review every single morning. These operations are basically the continuous, invisible nervous system of the executive branch. And understanding the reality behind some of these dramatic terms really demystifies the incredible logistical precision required for U.S. security. Take the nuclear football. Formally, it's a highly secure mobile emergency communications and authorization system. Officially known as the President's Emergency Satchel, this roughly 45-pound briefcase isn't just some magical red button like you see in the movies. It is a complex, multi-layered communication tool designed to ensure that the chain of command remains totally unbroken and completely secure, no matter where in the world the president happens to travel. Section 4. Checks and balances. Power beyond the White House, because the story of American power definitely doesn't end at the edge of the West Wing. The entire American Republic is deliberately divided across distinct, powerful institutions. We've explored the executive branch, which contains the White House and federal agencies. But right alongside it stands the legislative branch, Congress, which holds the vital power of the purse and writes the laws. Then you've got judicial and state powers, comprising the Supreme Court and individual state governors. The whole system is set up as a constant, structural tug-of-war between these entities. And that's because power in the U.S. system is divided to prevent any single person from having absolute control. The constitutional framers intentionally designed this system so that gridlock and friction are actually features, not bugs. I know it can be frustrating to watch, but the fact that a president must negotiate with Congress or that the Supreme Court can just strike down an executive order ensures that no single entity can act hastily or assume dictatorial control. Section 5. White House in crisis. So what happens when this massive machine is tested? Let's look at history. 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. 2001, the September 11 attacks. 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic. These are the moments when the world literally stopped. During these historic emergencies, the structural architecture of the White House is forced into absolute overdrive. The Chief of Staff, the National Security Advisor, and all those specialized agencies have to coordinate seamlessly. These distinct eras prove that regardless of who happens to be sitting in the Oval Office at the time, the underlying governmental machine must kick into gear to launch a massive unified response.
A crisis is the ultimate stress test. It reveals exactly how the White House coordinates a unified national and global response. And honestly, here is why this matters directly to you. Your physical and economic security in a crisis relies heavily on the invisible logistics of this very machine, not just the reassurance of a televised speech. It's an incredible apparatus of communication, intelligence sharing, and logistical deployment that spans the globe in a matter of minutes when disaster actually strikes.
Behind every historic moment stands a vast network of lawmakers, professionals, and institutions. From the architecture of the West Wing to the secret basement protocols, and finally out to the wider branches of government, this network is what truly drives historic events. The White House is the ultimate symbol of American leadership, sure, but behind every major decision is an entire unseen world of intelligence professionals, subject matter experts, and balanced institutions working tirelessly. Understanding this dynamic is absolutely key to grasping how one of the world's most influential governments actually operates on a day-to-day basis. So, knowing that true power relies on this massive, hidden machine, how does that change your view of global leadership? It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? The next time you see a momentous announcement delivered from that famous podium, remember the intricate architecture of power standing right behind it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer of the West Wing's inner workings. Keep asking questions and keep learning.